It's not an issue that one would be against leasing per se, but the problem here is we have a perfect storm, really, of three ingredients. And the perfect storm has come about by the fact that we haven't had an adequate vehicle for land redistribution. Leasing can never be a substitute for land redistribution.
Right.
And unfortunately, there's been an unfortunate mixing in now of this redistribution and leasing, and there shouldn't be. There should have been, the redistribution should have been tackled as a redistribution program in its own right, and it's been done extremely badly, as we already know. So that's why the first sort of ingredient is that it's been kind of almost being seen as a substitute for redistribution. And the second, ingredient of the perfect storm is that much of this land is already occupied.
And occupied legally, just to be clear on that.
Well, it depends on what you mean by legal, and that was what I was about to go into.
Right.
The issue here is that there's history here. This land was acquired by the apartheid government. It was acquired by expropriating white farmers. Mm-hmm. And much of it was then added onto various homelands, And on this land were already former farm workers, and then the apartheid government itself. So this is this idea of leasing is nothing new. The apartheid government actually put up this idea of leasing, and it put and the homelands under the homeland governments. And then the new leasees were elites of the, patrons of the homeland governments. Mm-hmm. So there was no transparent process from the word go. And many of these lessees weren't paying their leases. In fact, some of them just were given them as outright grants. So there was like a whole fuzzy process to start off with. But now these people haven't gone away. We now have them 3-4 decades later. And since then, the former farm workers have acquired beneficial occupation rights in terms of new land tenure laws.
Right.
So in that sense, they are legally occupying the land. It's called beneficial occupation. There was a whole process. You can't have prescription on state land. But in terms of the Interim Protection of Informal Land Rights Act, you have something called beneficial occupation. So many of them, even the lessees who stopped paying their leases,
yes,
you might be able to argue.
News.
Experts.
Analysis.
Where things stand.
What you need to know. Drive home with John Perlman
On 702.